Hi guys, and welcome to a new Nashville Nastiness. I am your host, James Von Helsen May, and today we are celebrating over 250 subscribers. There's a number I actually had in my head, which is not as much as I hoped for, but more than I actually thought I was ever going to get. It is huge, and it means so much to me to be able to do this instead of die in a gutter somewhere. Oh, don't forget to tell your moms you love them. And also like and subscribe, because if I don't say that, nobody does it. So, over 250 subscribers. What this whole channel is about is there is time that there is a new paradigm formed in recovery. The basic principles of the AA Big Book are still in place, but Bob and Bill could not have really foreseen what is happening in the world today. And I know a lot of people would argue with me, but why? You know, when they wrote the book, there were certainly addicts, but there were not people dying in the street in huge numbers. The prison system completely overwhelmed, cartels having billions of dollars, and there was also not Suboxone and Methadone. One of the biggest issues is people on those medications are not allowed to go through the 12 steps or even speak at a meeting. Now, this is wrong because you never know where somebody's at in their journey. The focus, the point is for people to get completely off these medications, but you also have to remember there are people with severe chronic pain. And if they're an addict, methadone may be the only thing that works for them. So all these ridiculous memes of, people who are on Suboxone, Methadone, they think, they're sober. You know what that does to a person who was an addict and got on this medication and they're doing really good and they thought they were doing really good and they see something like that, or they go to a meeting and people laugh and snicker at them and tell them they're not really sober. This is not conducive to health and recovery. Do you think that people are going to go, oh wow, I better get off it right now? They're going to think, well, I can't do anything right, so why even bother? And I have seen this reaction with my own two eyes. I have a friend that was trying to get clean and went to a meeting and heard a joke of such, and then he just gave up. There are many things that need to change in the world of recovery. In AA, I've seen people have been clean 5 months, sponsors someone else, and then they relapse. It happens all the time. Are these so-called recovery gurus you see there that have that smug look on their face because they've been clean 10, 20 years. I've seen them relapse just like anybody else. So no one person has the answers. I don't. That's why I say we'll figure this out together. And also think about donating to your local humane society, as I am a humane hero. I'm going to do a video just on what it was like to do a soft white underbelly interview. Overwhelmingly positive as far as the comments and reactions. The actual interview itself was not what I thought it was going to be at all. it doesn't really feel like anything special. I mean, there's one every single day. You know, it doesn't matter really who it is or what they do or what their life is. They just go up. And it just feels, everything about that experience felt really rushed and just pushed. But I don't know. I'm not inside of the mind of Mark Lacia, and I'm not gonna pretend I do, but that's a topic for another day. The point of this video is talking about what we should do here as a community. There are people whose loved ones died of overdose fentanyl, and they are starting these websites and groups or websites, and they're pushing for stronger laws. Well, let me tell you, the only time in America's history where we didn't have a huge drug problem was before drugs were prohibited, where you knew exactly what you were getting and how much to take. Of course there were overdoses. And addiction was worse then because we didn't understand recovery. We understand recovery a lot better now. And these drugs, I'm not saying just make them legal and anybody can sell them. That's just as bad. But if you can have any drug prescribed in a certain way with at least medical oversight, regulated, and you know what you're getting, that would be what would save lives. Pushing for harsher laws has never worked, and we have all the proof of that. That's just a fact. You're not going to arrest your way out of addiction. You're not going to make laws and prohibit your way out of addiction. That's a fact. So every time you let your anger and emotion push you for all these stricter laws, you're not helping. You're really not. Do you want to save lives, or do you want revenge for your loved one's death? What do you really want? And people can take that however they want. But facts are facts, and the truth is the truth, no matter what you say. And, you know, these poor kids, they say, are poisoned by fentanyl. Well, a lot of them knew they were getting fentanyl, and the ones that didn't, you know, they portray these kids as these poor, innocent things, and this drug dealer jumped out from behind a bush and stabbed them with a needle or shoved a pill down their throat. No, these kids were trying to get high. So that should tell you they were trying to get high. You're not going to get rid of this problem. And if they knew what they were getting, if they weren't getting it from some dealer on the street and knew, you know, went to a pharmacy, a doctor's office, they knew what they were getting, and they would still be alive. It's not that I don't have pity for these people. I don't feel for them, or I'm angry at them. Not at all. You know, just like in the interview, people only want to hear what they want to hear and hear until they get angry, and they don't want to hear the rest. They've already made up their mind exactly who you are and what you're trying to say. I'm trying to say, if you really want to save lives, demonizing dealers and making harsher punishments for them is not solving the problem, because that's what we've been doing for decades. It's not going to stop the problem. If you really want to stop it, it needs to be regulated. And that's all there is to it. I mean, you can argue all day long, stomp your foot in the ground and scream your name as Rumpelstiltskin. It's not going to change the facts. If you really want to save lives, you really need to get the word out there, because what I'm seeing, even in magazines, the huge push is that these folks lost their loved ones to fentanyl, and so the lawmakers are going to use this. They're going to use this and make all these penalties show what they're doing. Everybody's going to applaud them and hooray. but nothing is going to get better. It's going to get worse. I promise you, the addict in the street does not appreciate that one bit, because you put more pressure on the dealer without making drugs available. They're still going to need the drugs. They're still going to go look for the drugs. And you drive it deeper underground, the worse things are going to get, and you're going to kill more people. I have had so many people argue with me on that. Regulating drugs and making them legal is the dumbest. Really? Well, what's the answer then? Do what we've been doing for decades that has never ever worked? Is that your answer? Because that's what everybody's answer really is. Or they don't have one. That is the only thing you can possibly do, and it's the best thing, and it's proven it works. But they also, you could use this money as a way for people who need to get into a program, get into one. People on the street don't have the option of going to a nice facility. I'm really tired of hearing, if you really want it. No, you could save more people by making it a better experience than saying, if you really want it, if you really want whatever. Isn't about saving people, getting them in recovery. So we need to make rehab more easily accessible to everybody, and that money could help. Here on this channel, we're going to raise awareness for all these issues and welcome people no matter where they're at in their journey, and not just, doesn't matter if you drink or do drugs, or if you're just a victim of trauma of any kind. You know, that's what we're here for. To share our stories, just like in AA, and share our strength, but with a lot more updated rules. I don't really have rules as of yet, because I really don't have a big enough community to understand how everything is going to play out. I really hope one day to get big enough to start my own system of recovery and rehabilitation, because it seems that's just what I'm made to do. Other than play guitar and music, that's just what I do and what I know. And I've gone through all sorts of facets, you know. Just another thing, just because you got a degree from somewhere, you don't really understand addiction. And just because you've been through addiction doesn't mean you understand addiction. You need to go through the worst of it and go through it many different times. Same with recovery, trying many different ways to get a broad enough sense of what all these different people are going through and where they're coming from. I'm so tired of addicts who say, well, I did this, so you should. No. If that was the case, why can't you dunk a basketball? There's people that can. Why can't you do gymnastics? Those people did it, so surely you can. It's stupid to say just because you did something that everybody else can do it, because it's not true. And I really don't like I don't like the thought of anybody can do, what does it say, if you follow these simple steps, you know, except for people that are, you know, have severe mental illness. You know, it's like saying, well, unless you're completely crazy, you can do this, so if you don't, you're a failure. Come on, man. You really don't know everybody's journey. And again, this was written in the 1920s. The basic concepts hold up, but the rules around it, they definitely need an update. And we're going to do everything we can to figure this out together, and, you know, not just help a handful, but help millions of people, because they need it. It hurts me, and it does make me angry to look at the world and see how addicts are being used as pawns by the government, by the recovery industry, and by social justice warrior citizens who do not really understand addiction or the drug trade, but they start a website and everybody gets on board because they're angry too, and they push laws that are the same that are already in place, just more drastic, and it makes them feel better. But again, are you out for revenge, or are you really out to save people's lives? So, over 250 people. We need to make this much more because there are so many people hurting. I am grateful for every single one of you. You've gotten on the ground floor of this. You know, by God, I'm going to start a whole new culture of recovery, or die trying. There's no in between. I'm just going to keep going until I succeed. That's how I made it through the life that you saw I made it through. It wasn't easy. And I'm surprised I'm alive. I'm surprised I'm as successful as I am. And when I say we need more people, it doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that there's a lot more people that need help, and a lot more people we need to reach. So if you know people, share it. Share this place. I'm not going to, start selling merch unless you guys absolutely start asking